Here at Tableau, we're all about data. We know its possibilities, how it can define individuals, shape organizations, entertain, and support causes and movements. It has become the lifeblood of the modern world and the fuel which powers everything that's exceptional about Tableau. You could even say that we love data. So every year we look ahead to understand the major trends that are shaping the future of analytics and see the way that people are working with data. Every year we see interesting clues to our ever-evolving relationship with information and also how its use is improving the world around us. We see organizations getting smarter in how they use technology to empower the workforce, how the conversation between technical experts and business users becomes more seamless, and how cultural shifts are changing how organizations use data more effectively and more responsibly. Now, we interviewed Tableau customers, leaders, and business intelligence experts in the field to identify some of the biggest current data trends and predict where things will head next. My name's Steve Street. I'm a lead solution engineer with Tableau, and I've been immersed in business intelligence and data for decades. Because I've worked for Tableau, it goes without saying that I love data too. And I'm extremely excited to be your host today as we count down the 6 data trends for 2020. In at number 6, it's data management. Now, there is no doubt that with applications creating more and more data and the use cases for analytics ever increasing, there's a real challenge here to integrate, govern, control, and promote the data assets that are being generated, and to do this at scale. Data management capabilities were long since the responsibility of IT, who would decide, define, and curate data assets for the business. But those traditional methods, they may look at preparing data into data warehouses or data marts, but these methods aren't agile enough to support an ever-changing business need. But as Gartner state here, these core data management functionalities, things like data profiling, cataloging, metadata management, and data integration, they now appear in many individual management applications and tools. So how can we leverage that? Well, technologies are ever evolving to bring data management functions much closer to the business. Here at Tableau, we provide self-service data preparation through Tableau Prep, metadata management, integration and lineage through Tableau Catalog, and certified validated data sets, popular workbooks, and data sources using Tableau Server. And we're doing that to support data-driven decision-making at scale. We try and provide the data details behind the analysis front and center for every user. To support a data-driven culture, we need to know that the data that we're using is the right data at the right time and provide confidence for the business user with that. Now, Jefferson McMillan-Willett, he's the Director for Health Informatics and Technology at Lake County Health Department. He puts all of this into perspective when he says, we need to help everyone understand the story that we're telling. And one of the ways that we do that is by using a data catalog. We can start helping our residents and those who are consuming information to understand what we mean when we say those specific words. Thanks, Jefferson. I think you summed that up nicely. Moving on, a number of trends from 2018 and 2019 combine here to hang steady with our number 5 entry, and that is data culture. So sure, we all want to be data-driven, but where do we begin? The value of data has been recognized for a number of years now, so it's really no surprise that organizations look to include information as a key element of their corporate strategies. We've seen analyst reports that identify the correlation between data-driven organizations and success. We've seen the rise of the Chief Data Officer, the CDO, and that's an endorsement of data's key role in this process. But the responsibility for success with data and analytics stretches beyond the CDO and CIO to all executives. The most successful data-driven companies are those that really invest in culture as much as they do technology, embedding data into all their core business functions. And any organizational culture, including data culture, really starts at the top. So having the entire C-suite utilize data as a primary resource in making decisions has a huge influence, which empowers everyone in an organization to follow suit. Now, importantly, it's not enough just to purchase what you consider to be the right technology. Simply throwing money at technology does not create a data-driven culture. Building processes which value the use of data in every aspect of the business, which includes promoting and using information through every single level of the organization, that will help you achieve that goal. Now, I love this quote. We are very lucky that our CEO has a keen interest in data. Without CEO buy-in, driving a business intelligence program is close to impossible. I couldn't agree more with that, Liesl. Thank you for that. Climbing the charts rapidly, we see data equity break the top trends, dropping in here at number 4. So data is fast becoming a critical resource for organizations to increase equity. Beyond addressing the moral aspect of this, establishing equitable environments has very positive impacts on both the individuals and the organizations that initiate them. For corporations, transparency about their workforce data creates the opportunity to improve employee satisfaction and therefore retention, while more accurately reflecting the communities and customers that they serve. Now, using data for organizations, they can analyze their diversity metrics on a much more granular level and use this information to improve the balance across the group at all levels. Those who may currently be excluded from policy discussions, or perhaps those who are eligible for services, can now be seen and understood. No longer do organizations have to assume that they're doing the right thing, but they can actually make positive steps to ensure that they are. With this data, companies can devise much stronger diversity and inclusion programs, and also diagnostic tools to quantitatively measure their efforts. With insights into areas such as pay, into gender, into racial equality, leadership is able to see who is and who is not being hired, and whether programs are accessible to all, and just how effective those programs are. Now, above doing simply the right thing, there are additional business benefits here too. A Deloitte report shows that inclusive organizations can deal with individual performance problems 3.6 times better than those who lack intentionally inclusive talent strategies. Now, I think that's quite a remarkable statistic. I am extremely fortunate to work for Tableau and our new parent company, Salesforce, who promote equity as a moral, professional, and business goal. Now, like many others, we still have a way to go. It is a continuing program, and one which relies on the availability of data and transparency throughout. So this focus and prioritization by many leading organizations, and also the relevance and significance that we see today to end this imbalance, sees data equity as our number 4 trend for 2020. Moving up 7 from last year to drop into this year's top 3, it's data storytelling. Now, companies are getting to know us, aren't they? Consumers in the 21st century provide personal data much more than they ever did before. and companies are using it to provide a tailored experience to suit our requirements. Brands are starting to boost customer engagement by making our data stories more meaningful, more convenient, and much more interactive. We're creatures of habit, after all, aren't we? So it's not unreasonable for Netflix to suggest the next binge-worthy series, or for my supermarket to make me an offer on my favorite Italian sauce, or no doubt a cheeky Shiraz to go with it. So data storytelling is an effective way for companies to engage with us in ways that pure facts and figures can't. It makes data relevant, it places it in context, and it elevates its importance because it becomes more meaningful. So consider your bank account details as an example. Endless lists of transactions that very few of us ever analyze and very few of us derive any insight from. But now banks are providing analysis alongside this information, which is instantly making it more meaningful. And also we're seeing that disruptive banks are looking to personalize the whole experience, to get to know the real you from your payments, your investments, and your interactions. Now, in a blog article in 2018, Chris Petty from Gartner wrote that it's the context around the data that provides the value. And that's what will make people listen and engage. So contextualizing data really helps us extract insight. It becomes more exciting because it's more relevant, and it breeds curiosity, which ensures that you delve deeper into your data. Now, not only does data storytelling enable all of these experiences, it also evolves our relationship with the brand and offers significant additional value to us as consumers. It continues to remain top of the charts, and that's some story, hey? Now, 2 years at the top spot with Don't Fear AI back in 2018 and the rise of explainable AI in 2019, you've guessed it, it's artificial intelligence, slipping back to number 2. Now, artificial intelligence and machine learning is on everyone's lips as the next wave of digital transformation. And while there's been a huge increase in spending, some $35 billion in 2019, and that's set to double by 2022, by the way, most organizations are really failing to realize the value from their AI investments simply because of an early focus on technology rather than practical use cases. Now, AI is nothing new. Artificial intelligence has been around in various different guises since the 50s, and its definition and purpose has been reevaluated several times over during that time frame. AI is about using data to make better decisions in a more automated way, often supported by very large volumes of data, far more than could be processed by the human mind. Machine learning then becomes about making predictions and recommendations independent of humans being involved. AI is no longer about data scientists and engineers working on projects in silos, but really bringing these experts with their domain knowledge into effect aligned with a wider business strategy. So taking this collaborative approach can unveil the parts of the business that are best suited to AI, and also the parts that are going to require some human intervention. So use it to help support decision-making rather than making the decisions unaided. Let me give you an example. If I wanted to open a new store, I might use AI to make some recommendations based on things like foot traffic or demographics within the area. But I would still want to evaluate those recommendations based on factors that weren't assessed. Things such as the location visibility, parking in the area, or perhaps competitor locations. Now, our very own Richard Tibbetts explains, the emergence of AI does not mean that an algorithm will tell you how to run a business. It will be the domain experts that help ensure that AI is adopted and trusted in an organization. Data experts can gain very useful knowledge into how the business uses data, while those domain experts can really help uplift the technical roles as advocates for data proficiency. Domain experts play a key role in putting the results of AI into practice across all departments and teams. They'll be the ones who will be ushering in a new wave of maturity for AI use cases. And we see that as being data trend number 2 in our top list for 2020. Now, before revealing the number 1, let's hit that rundown, shall we? At number 6, we had data management. Steady at 5, it was data culture. Not seen before, it's data equity at 4. Let me tell you a story, it's data storytelling at 3. Give me an A, give me an I. Thank God I used the abbreviation rather than the whole word, hey. It's AI at number 2. And in this year's top spot, hopefully I won't trip over my words here, ever increasing in its popularity in this industry, it is data literacy. So probably no surprise to any of you following data trends over recent years that data literacy remains a leading trend for 2020. Digital transformation demands businesses become data-driven, and that means organizations are spending big to ensure this success. Now, according to IDG research, on average, organizations plan to spend $15.3 million on digital initiatives in the next 12 months. Quite a staggering figure. While some of these investments are on technology, almost half is being allocated to skill development. And that's no surprise, really. We can't simply provide more and more access to data without helping those consumers become more fluent in it. So if their users aren't able to talk the language, to become literate, they won't be empowered to answer their business questions through data. So how does one become data literate? Well, far too many organizations assume that it's simply learning how to use analytical tools. Now, while this is part of the equation, the others are much more difficult to learn, as it requires users to become curious about data. You need to teach them to ask questions, to delve deeper into the data presented, to qualify or negate any assumptions that have been made. They also need skills in finding appropriate data and understand how they can validate and certify those sources. They need powers of persuasion. Data is a very persuasive asset in analytics. But to be truly convincing, you need to be able to showcase your understanding through the right visualization and through storytelling. Now, corporations have been fairly slow, to be fair, to enable data literacy programs. They've been relying on individuals to obtain those skills elsewhere, or perhaps even hire in expertise from the field. Now, this doesn't promote data literacy at scale. Academic institutions, on the other hand, have been developing critical thinking and analytics proficiencies in students for years now. And we've seen a new generation of digital natives coming through these channels. So corporations would be wise to take some learnings from this and look to establish data skills programs of their own, encompassing centers of excellence, promoting a new approach to data rather than just rehashing an existing approach with a modern technology, and generating and utilizing communities to share and to inspire. Data literacy programs are far more successful when they're actually applied to data that is relevant to the audience. So establishing these programs within, using realistic data for the business, undoubtedly leads to better outcomes. Now, let me leave you here with a quote which sums up eloquently the benefits of data literacy. Marina Brashnikova, the BI manager of an academic healthcare system in the US, said, "We have seen a considerable culture shift in our organization as people become more skilled and therefore more excited about using data. As we give them the ability to blend various data sources and a greater speed of delivery, they are empowered to make new discoveries and make educated, data-driven decisions." So when organizations invest in formal training, when they have communities to foster continued learning, and also certifications to measure data literacy, people can truly thrive with data. And surely that's something we can all benefit from. Here's to a data literate world. Long live data. That concludes our countdown of the top data trends for 2020. I really hope you've enjoyed this session and found it informative. You want to know more? Well, of course you do. In that case, go to our website and check out the full data trends report that's available there, and also have a listen to the webinar in order to get Ashley, Ellie, and Sam's take on this year's trends. For now, that's all for me, Steve Street. Out.